Impact Wrestling. Alright, a few days before Throwback Throwdown 4. We got 4 Throwback Throwdowns. This is number 4. For the Impact Provincial Wrestling Federation. You know, that's one of the few times I actually ever get it right, because I always screw it up. But for some reason, this time I got it right. Okay, was this a good show? Since we did not see the full UK tour, and I'm making it clear, we did not see the full UK tour. Even though Turning Point was not bad, the full UK tour was not shown. We only saw whatever they were willing to show during their time in the UK, which I thought was the biggest mistake. They made a huge mistake not showing the entire tour itself. And I don't agree with it. But it wasn't 100% bad, even though the camera work was horrendous due to the fact they used local talent to run the cameras. Here in Chicago, the camera work was somewhat alright. Opening, we got Tasha Steelz versus Deonna Purrazzo. Now, this is stemming off of them having their shot against MK Ultra and losing, and it looked like it was either Deonna who nailed a Tasha or Tasha nailed Deonna. And that kind of pissed each other off. So they wanted to get this match to clear the air. Good match. This is where Impact Wrestling is one of the few shows that show real wrestling. Real wrestling with at least a small hint of a story. Let's make it clear. In WWE, the stories suck. All those women that's in that Battle Royal, there was only one person that made any sense, and that was a Zoe Stark. And unfortunately, there's barely any story for her. Actually, there is no story for Zoe going against a Rhea Ripley when it happens. There's nothing there. It's just a match. And when it comes to AEW, you have very little story there. Now, at least you have very well established wrestlers in Impact Wrestling that even if they don't have very good stories, at least they're so established, you can look past it. Tasha Steelz is very well known. So is Deonna Purrazzo. But I am very shocked in how many times Deonna has jobbed already. Counting this match because she jobs to Tasha. And understand, this was the second best match of the night for me personally. The only reason it's not the first match of the night because there's no story. There is no story other than one of them is pissed off at the other because they couldn't win against MK Ultra around Bound for Glory. They couldn't win. So, when it comes down to it, Tasha has now beaten Deonna Purrazzo after she has been beaten 3 times by Trin and now once finally by a Jordan Grace, because Jordan finally beat her once and Trinity beat her 3 times, and now with this one, this is 5 times Deonna Purrazzo has jobbed. Now, I cannot tell you that this is one of the best things you can do. It depends on how they book her from this moment on. Because constantly seeing a wrestler lose over and over and over again gives several signals. 1, they don't care about that wrestler anymore. 2, maybe they do still care, but maybe the contract is coming up. That is also a possibility that she's losing so much, kind of like what happened with a Mickie James. She lost a whole bunch of times. And then she went away for a while because her time with Impact was done until she decided to come back again. Either because of injury or the agreement they had, which might have been a handshake at the time. Pretty much that was it. So we do not know if Deonna Purrazzo's contract is nearing its end. If they're going to renegotiate it and she's coming back. Or she's not going to redo the contract or not renegotiate it. Like, make an extension. We don't know. At least I don't know. Unless there's something on the dirt sheets of the websites that are out there. I haven't checked, and I'm not going to right now. Because I don't want to know right now. Anybody you want to check, go ahead, go for yourself. But I don't want to check right now. Unless I'm going to do a Gump report. Honestly, there's no point in looking right now. So, when you see someone like this, it's either 1, they don't care about them, or 2, their contract is coming up or it's about to expire and they're not going to renew it, or they're working on renewing it or extending it. There you go. Next match. Crazy Steve versus Tommy for the Digital Media Championship. Now, here's the thing. I was thinking this would be better Hard to Kill. I'm saying it now. Hard to Kill should be the culmination of this feud. That's what it means. If Tommy won there, I would have said this was stupid to go any further. Because if Tommy won against Steve, not Crazy Steve, Steve, he is now Steve. I wish they would do that. And he would do a promo saying, you know, I have been Crazy Steve for so long, but I don't care about dang Steve anymore. Not Crazy Steve. That's what they gave me. And that's what I took. But you know, I want to be me. I want to be Steve. That's what I want for him. But, taking away if they ever did do that, if Tommy won here, it would mean nothing for Steve. It would be a joke. If Steve won, he really doesn't gain a lot on an Impact show winning the Digital Media Championship. I'm sorry. If he won it somewhere abroad, like when it was in the UK tour, it would be somewhat okay, counting on how much of the match it would show and the build up into it. But he really needs a signature pay-per-view. That is Hard to Kill. So if he had won here, it would not really give him much. And if he lost here, it would be a joke. So seeing that Steve wanted to stab Tommy in the face, as you see, I think I got the fork, in his face, but he didn't get a chance to do it. It was Tommy who did it. He DQ'd the match. So Steve now has lost to Tommy, but it was a DQ loss because Tommy stabbed him in the face. That means their feud is not over. He bled, then he jammed it near his eye right here. I think I got the shot. It's in my face, next to me going like this. I can tell you, this was the best case scenario for Steve and Tommy. If they had let either one of them win clean, it would have been a big mess to try and make it mean something, maybe going into Hard to Kill. Because that's where they're going. That's where it looks like they may go. Unless they're going to do Final Resolution, which I do believe it should not happen there. It should happen at a signature pay-per-view. I truly believe Tommy and Crazy Steve should be at a signature pay-per-view. But it depends on them. If we happen to the 9th, who knows? Now, alright, Brian Myers versus Joe Henley. Let me give it to you like this. Hearing that Brian Myers is the only man in history of the Call Your Shot Gauntlet to eliminate 7 people does give him some credibility. That's good. But now hearing that he's no longer a Myers is a wanker to now Myers was Edge's bitch. Well, Edge's bitch, then Myers the wanker, and now it's Adam's bitch. Because that's what Joe Henley said when he came out. He says, now you're not going to be the regular person. As we get a new rebranding, and you know what it is, we should rebrand Brian Myers. He's no longer Edge's bitch. He's Adam's bitch. Going on what's going on in AEW. At least I will say, whether you like it or not, acknowledging another promotion does not hurt the promotion you're working with. I'm telling you right now, unlike WWE, who's willing to at least say something about New Japan Pro Wrestling because of Asuka or Shinsuke Nakamura or even Akira Tozawa, at least with Impact Wrestling, they have no problem with saying this is person from AEW, New Japan, All Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, DDT, Shimmer, and Joshi Wrestling, or something like that. As long as you admit where they are coming from, and how their feud started, and if you're lucky enough, if the feud is something that could be really good for your company and the other one, showing a little bit of courtesy to the other promotion, saying, look, we're doing a story, we want to do something with your person, man or woman, and can we get a little bit of your stock footage of when those two were working together? If they say yes, that could help both promotions. You never know. It just depends how they book it. Of course, Brian Myers won. Now, when it was over afterward, the question is for me personally, because they didn't show it, because Moose was happy to see he won, but then Brian Myers, the Myers man, was not happy that Moose was not there for him. He said, you don't need me there. And he says, are you going to act like Matt did to me? because he's saying Matt Cardona just left him high and dry. You're going to leave me the same way. He says, you're my partner. I'm not going to screw you. But as he's talking, the red-headed stepchild of WWE, that's pretty much a Heath, my boy. I know I joked around saying the redheaded stepchild. The guy's a redhead. What do you want? It would be cool to be a born redhead with brown hair. I just learned, because I never really checked it, because I did know someone a long time ago who had red hair, but I didn't never know if that red hair was real red hair because they had brown eyes. I never checked to see if redheads can also have brown eyes, and they can. They're actually, the majority of redheads can have red hair with brown eyes. I didn't know that. I actually learned it a couple of days ago, because I had seen that person a while, just seen them passing and say, how you doing? Oh, you still dye your hair? I said, man, my hair is real red. He said, really? He said, yeah, I got brown eyes with red hair. And they didn't know. But he wanted to fight against Bryan because he screwed him over. And he says, you got a problem with Myers? You got a problem with me. So now Moose is going to have a match against the Heath. And he says to Myers, is this proof enough that I'm still in your corner? I'm still your boy? This is going to be interesting to see how far they're going to go with that. Now, they did show the advertisement for Will Ospreay. Now, I'm going to say this. This is off of Impact. I've seen Just Alex, and I've seen JD, and I've seen Jesse talk about Will Ospreay and talk about Impact Wrestling. And Just Alex made it very clear. It would be 0%. I would be shocked if he goes to Impact. And pretty much, this is what JD said. If Will Ospreay goes to Impact Wrestling, I will come on the show and take off my damn hat and not have a hat on. He pretty much said, I will not have my hat on. That means he's going to show his balding head, like myself. I got a balding head. I got no shame. I've shown it more than a few times. I'm not taking it off now because I don't want to wrap my head. But he made it very clear. And Jesse didn't believe it was going to happen too. But if Will went to Impact, he would be eating crow and not wear his hat. And Just Alex would be shocked. I'm going to give you this, guys, because I know some people may be asking. There was one person that asked about Jonathan Gresham. And if you're watching this video, I am going to talk about Jonathan, what my thinking about it is. But I'm saying this. If he goes to AEW, WWE, that is where he's going to make this. Let's make it clear. If Will Ospreay is one of two things. This is what Will Ospreay is, one or the other. He is a wrestler who wants to entertain, or he's a pro wrestler that wants to wrestle. This is the difference between the two types. A wrestler who wants to entertain and a pro wrestler who wants to wrestle. That's the deal. That is the deal. It works. Because at this moment, Trinity is the wrestler who wants to wrestle. That's why she went to Impact Wrestling. It wasn't because she couldn't go to AEW. She went to Impact Wrestling because she wanted to wrestle. She didn't want to go to AEW. Not that the people would treat her bad there and she would get this, but she wanted to wrestle. Will Ospreay is a big question. If he wants to be a wrestler who wants to entertain, he will go to AEW. He will go to WWE. He will wrestle a certain style, and he will get this. And he'll have to, if he goes to WWE, memorize scripts and do all that mess. AEW, he'll be more literal. He'll be able to have something similar to New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he can come up with his own story to a certain extent. Impact Wrestling, he will be on a smaller platform. Yes. He will get less money. Yes. He will be doing smaller venues compared to AEW, WWE. Let's make it clear. Even after they rebrand as TNA. And to be honest, I'm still very worried about that. I'm worried about it. After what I'm seeing here and what I've heard from Scott D'Amore, I am worried about that being more about just changing the name than actually increasing and making the brand better. Now, mind you, I'm not being blank about what they've said about wanting to do something different. But we got that from WWE. We've been told they're going to do something different. They do something different a little bit, and then they go back to the way they were. So it's still the question out. That's why I'm worried. But when it comes to this situation, Will Ospreay will be going into a smaller company than New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW, and WWE. He's going to a smaller one if he goes to Impact. But if he just wants to wrestle, yes, have creative freedom. He's going to have some. They're going to let him do what he wants. But when it comes down to will have more wrestling than he's going to have over there. Mostly doing tapings. If they're not going to do more live, they're going to do tapings. Will be less stress on him. He can rest more. And it's also going to depend if he comes to America, because he's saying they want to go to the U.S. But if he's going to Impact, he will have to deal with that. I don't know if he's going to go, but it's going to be one way or another. He's either going to be a wrestler who wants to entertain, which will go for money, or he's going to be a pro wrestler that wants to wrestle. That will be Impact. There you go. Now, let's get to what I said about Trinity. Sonny Kiss is officially a part of Impact Wrestling, whether you like it or not. And my friend, Stefan, I left a comment. He left several comments below. He does not like Grado. He was not happy that there was no Johnny Swinger. I don't know how he's going to feel about Sonny Kiss, because Sonny is going to be somewhat comedic. Let's make it clear. Sonny is going to be working with the Knockouts, and he, because I don't think he's gone through the transition, he, if he cares about calling himself a she, but he is going to be comedic. There's no way he's not going to be, to a certain extent. So I'm saying this to you, my friend. As much as you love Johnny, you can't say that about Grado. You can't. Well, of course you can. I'm just saying, as a reviewer, I have to see things fairly. If you love one comedian, why are you hating the other one? There's going to be someone that's going to like Johnny Swinger, and there's going to be a lot of people who hate Johnny Swinger. There's going to be like a lot of people like Grado. A lot of people won't like Grado. And there's going to be a lot of people like Sonny Kiss, and a lot of people will not like Sonny Kiss. But they will be represented as comedians, not a gay comedian or a Scottish comedian or an American comedian. They're just going to be comedic wrestlers. Whether you like them or not is not the point. The point is, it's going to be something for everybody. So seeing that he was being interviewed by Gia, and that the trend came to him, gave him a big hug, and said, I love you, I'm glad you're here. And I heard what you just said. You want to try and have a shot against me, girl? Well, she said, girl, I will give you your shot. I do have a little pull here because I am the champ. And pretty much Sonny said, all right, give me, baby. No problem. Sonny being there, getting a shot against Trin will give a little bit to him or her, counting on how they see themselves. But here's the problem. It's so soon. I would rather not see Sonny Kiss get his clock clean. I'm sorry. I don't want to see his get a clock clean so quickly. I'd rather see him going through Alicia Edwards and maybe going through Rosemary, or in other words, not Rosemary, Courtney Miller. No, Courtney Rush, not Miller. Courtney Rush, not Courtney Miller. That's from Smosh. Haven't seen Smosh in a while. If you've never seen Smosh, it's not that bad. And Courtney Miller is kind of cute, yeah. But the point is, I lost track. The point is, I kind of wish Sonny Kiss had time before he had to actually face Trent. But knowing that he is signed, it may not hurt him too much, because he would already be known somewhat well from AEW, but he wasn't seen a lot unless you had watched Collision. I think he was on there at least once or twice. ROH, where he might have been on once or twice. More than anything, Elevation and Dark Elevation, well, Dark and then Dark Elevation, you would not know who he is. So that's going to be a big problem. That's the reason why I wish he wouldn't. Let's move on. Let's see here. Next match. Eddie Edwards versus Eric Young, with Alicia Edwards by ringside. Two legends. One legend. I'm sorry. I wish they would not be doing this with Eddie Edwards. Don't get me wrong. I love Eddie. I do love Eddie. And Alicia, seeing them ride or die, I like it. But I'm not going to lie to you. Hearing him being considered a legend of only being there for 10 years. He's been there roughly 10 years. I'm sorry. No. He can be a staple. He can be a veteran, but to be like a legend of TNA, he's not a legend of TNA. He isn't. In fact, if I remember correctly, and I stated this in my Gump report, TNA didn't transition its name until, what was it, March of 2011 until what? May or June of 2012. He wasn't there yet. So as a TNA original, he ain't. TNA legend, he's not. Is he a TNA, well, a staple to a certain extent of TNA? Yeah, wasn't bad. But he's nothing super important. The original OG was one of the people who was there in Team Canada. I would rather him be saying that than Eddie Edwards is practically a legend when he's not. Great match. Wasn't bad. Wasn't, well, no, I can't say it's great. It was a good match, bordering on great. That's just me. Of course, we did get Alicia nailing her man in the face. Unfortunately, if I remember correctly, I think she nailed him in the face with Kendra, or at least messed him up enough that he could not win the match. So that's done. But I don't know what's going to happen with Eric Young. I don't know what's going to happen with Eddie Edwards. But I do got to say this about Eric Young and his mask. I said, and I still feel this way, because the reason I said what I said is because it gave me that feeling. When I first saw Eric Young with his iron mask, which of course is Dr. Doom. But if you guys don't know, before that is Dr. Doom. But during the time when I was growing up, when you watch cartoons, next to the Fantastic Four and Dr. Doom's mask, what was inspired from that mask was Destro's mask. Now, if you don't know, Destro was a Cobra, well, not Cobra Commander agent. He was one of the higher ups in Cobra. And he wore a mask that didn't have the mouth like a Dr. Doom. But that's what it gave me. That feeling of Destro. Because I didn't really grow up with Dr. Doom. I didn't. I've seen the Fantastic Four, but I didn't grow up reading the comics because I couldn't read very well. I'm dyslexic. So for me, only thing I saw was the cartoons, and I didn't see a lot of Dr. Doom. I do remember him, but I wasn't really fond of that villain. But Destro I was, and that's where I really related it. And I still love that mask of Eric Young. It does remind me of Destro. That's me. Now, let's move on to Dirty Dango and two jobbers and Dijakovic, who is Perdius. That's his name, Perdius. I can't remember his first name, but Perdius. Guys, he looks skinnier. He's not like Cock Diesel anymore. He's not like he was like this. The guy, when I remember seeing working with Santino Marella back in the mid-2000s, the guy was built like a rock. Almost practically chiseled out of stone. Almost. He didn't have like the popping out abs and the popping out muscle, but you could tell he was built. Here you can see he's much more skinnier. He's not as built as he was before because he's older. If he was in his, mid to late 30s maybe when he went to WWE, I think he might be in his early to mid 40s now. He doesn't have the same build as he has before, but he's still a big-ass guy that can still move. That guy just destroyed those two. Dango decided, I'm not going to get in the ring. I'm just going to go on commentary and just put the headset on, and I'm going to be talking and see Dijakovic, or Perdius, I believe his name is Perdius, destroy everybody, which he did. Good. This is what Dango needed. What I believed he needed from the very beginning. He needed someone by his side to really give him protection while he does his stick. Because seeing him still do, and this is Alpha Bravo, tell him what you need to say. And he says, boy, I hate pro wrestling. Does it sound familiar? Have you heard this? Hey, Impact Wrestling, what do you want to talk about? Same thing. Let me talk to you. It's all the same. He's doing exactly what the LA Knight, Cody, and anyone else is doing their business. Acknowledge me. And he can't be acknowledged, and that's Roman Reigns, because if he's not going to Survivor Series, Why are we going to acknowledge someone that's not there? We don't know yet. I'm saying it now. We do not know he's going to be there or not, but we're going to question. Finally, let me see. Is there anything else? Well, let me give it to you like this. I know ABC and Kenny and Shelton Jean, they're probably going to have the match next week. I think they already set it up. I'm not going to talk about that because it really didn't make it important. This was the match. Best match of the night. Jonathan Gresham versus Alex Shelley for the World Championship. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Why was it Alex Shelley? Why wasn't it Chris Sabin? I'm saying it now. Because they've done, and there was a person, you know who you are, you left a comment below asking about the evil one, Vince McMahon. Is he still doing something in WWE? I did tell you what happened with Vince. He's still there. He's just not in control of creative at this moment. But the product is still not that great. But you asked about Jonathan Gresham. What are they doing with him? Have they not done anything with him? Well, when you see this match, I knew 100% there is no way Alex Shelley is going to job to the octopus. He's just not. And here's the problem for me personally. I've been saying it on and off for a while. If anyone's heard me, Jonathan Gresham should be given more of a role. He should be going after the X Division, or he should be going after the world title. Something. Because I felt like, yes, he was doing great work with Speedball Mike Bailey, but it's not enough. But I also said to the person in the comment, it would be easy for me to say they just dropped the ball with him. But the problem is, I don't know what type of contract he has. And if you don't know, guys, sometimes you're going to have wrestlers who do not always work with Impact Wrestling. Remember, Impact does general tapings, at least until after 2024 starts. If they're going to start doing live shows constantly, this will all be going away, which I do hope they do. But if they're going to still have the same model where they're going to only do live pay-per-views and live special events on Impact Plus, or TNA Plus if they change it, there's a lot of things they're going to be doing. A lot of wrestlers do not stay there. Look, there's some wrestlers who work in New Japan Pro Strong or GCW, MLW. So I don't know what type of contract he has. I don't. So if he doesn't have a ironclad contract where he just works with them and only works certain shows with certain places, I can't be sure. And to be honest, I wish they wouldn't do that. Because a lot of times, and I've been saying this for years, wrestlers that only come in for tapings, when they do stories with them, it's so short, it doesn't really feel like anything. And I've heard John Rosap say, well, when it comes to Impact, they always try to keep their wrestlers fresh, rotating them in and out. But there's always a major issue with that. If you don't have constant hardcore wrestlers, in other words, the core wrestlers to stay there constantly, not a small amount, but a good amount that can continue doing the stories even when the numbers are always fluctuating, it's going to look empty. And that's what's going on with Impact. They're constantly empty due to the fact they have a good core of wrestlers, but the number is so small, it's impossible to feel like it's a large roster. It's impossible to feel like that. Particularly that they do a lot of tapings. When they do, it just feels stale to most people. To me personally, it doesn't hurt me because I don't mind it if it's taped or if it's live. As long as you book correctly, have good wrestling, and your production value of your show is good, I can look past tapings or live shows. Both of them have basically their strengths and weaknesses. This match was a damn good match. I did love the match. And seeing Jonathan Gresham turn heel on the match, most people say, this is stupid. But you know, when it comes to Alex Shelley, he also becomes heelish. So you could say that both of them are acting the same way. Well, Shelley wasn't acting heelish, but Gresham did. But Gresham looks like he's been wanting to switch over to a heel anyway. So seeing it here is a double-edged sword. It just doesn't feel like it's right. It feels like he should be going after the X Division instead of the world title. He should be messing with, not Alex Shelley, but Chris Sabin, who just got his 10th run with the damn title. I think that would be better for Chris Sabin to be dealing with a Jonathan Gresham, but they chose not to do that. They literally made the choice to let Jonathan Gresham have this one match. And there's a worry to that. The worry is this. One, they have nothing for him, and all he's been doing is filler, and kind of like what happened with I gotta say it. You know I love Lady Frost. She's been in AEW now, but she was in Impact. She got hurt, and when she was recovered, they had nothing for her. Guys, understand, many years ago, it's been more than a few, at least 2 years at least, that she was let go at least a year or two ago. And the only reason they let her go is because they had nothing for her. Yes, she did get injured. She recovered, but then they didn't have anything for her to do. There was no storylines, nothing. So they left her staying home until they released her from a contract. And I'm worried about Jonathan Gresham going down that route. That this was the last time they're going to use him. Possibly because nothing else is filler. And he may just say, look, give me something to do. He said, well, this is what we got. What happens after that? Well, we don't really have anything. Well, then send me home after this. And that might be what Jonathan did. Because he kind of did that with ROH. He stayed for a while. He was champion. They really didn't have anything for him because they weren't set up yet. And he dropped the title and left. So that's one thing. Second, he's finished. This might be the last time we see him. I don't know. I'm saying right now, this is just conjecture. This is just my idea. That this might have been the last match he had. So if this is the last match, because they have nothing for him, if he had a short-term contract, like I said earlier, we don't know what contract he has. He's done. He's gone. This might have been the last time we'll see him in Impact. Maybe. I don't know. Third option, because he did turn heelish here. Maybe now, because he's turned heelish, they will do the story I think they should have done, and that will be going after Chris Sabin before Hard to Kill. Or, in this case, maybe Final Resolution. I'd really rather they don't, and try to make him go straight for Sabin, and then he's going to have a match of Final Resolution where he'll lose there. I'd rather see them have something at a real pay-per-view, not an Impact Plus show, in a Final Resolution, because that's what that is. That Impact Plus show, that's it. The last time they're going to use the Impact name. Because after the 13th is TNA. So, I'm hoping he'll be coming back. I'm hoping his contract isn't over. And I'm hoping they will do something with him. But I don't know. But this is just me. Peace.